and welcome to Virtual Messy Church. Now then, today I know we are looking at lots of things to do with water. Now, what I've been given is the passage in John 4, and it's quite a long story, and it's a really interesting story about how Jesus meets a Samaritan woman at the well, and he starts talking to her, and she's a bit confused to start with because she is a Samaritan and she's a woman, so really Jesus, who is a God-fearing Jew, should not be speaking to her because they thought the Samaritans were unclean. So this is all very strange, but Jesus says something really interesting to her, and that is something that we can hold on to today. He says, if you knew who it was who is asking for a drink of water from the well, you would ask him and he would give you living water. So what Jesus is saying is he is capable of giving the lady, the woman at the well, living water. And this is a promise for us as well. Of course, the lady doesn't really understand at all, so he has to talk to her for quite a long while and explain things to her and tell her all about her life and how she really needs this living water. And I think we've got a lot of ideas going on with the living water. The idea of being clean, because this lady had done a lot of bad things in her life and she wasn't living a very good life at the moment. The idea of being clean, and also the idea of not being thirsty anymore, because of course it was very hot. It was midday at the well, it was very hot, so everybody would need some water because they would be thirsty. But Jesus says the living water helps us not to be thirsty anymore. It says here, whoever drinks the water I give them will never thirst. So we can see that Jesus is using picture language to explain something that feeds a vital need in our lives, not to be thirsty. And I think he's talking about spiritual thirstiness. And what he's talking about, the living water, is the Holy Spirit. So Jesus is saying, I can give you the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit will give you cleanliness and will stop you being thirsty ever again. And that's something Jesus can give us today. So he can give us the Holy Spirit. All we need to do is ask him, please give us the Holy Spirit to help us to live a life that's more fulfilling, that's more pure, and that means that we have spiritual fulfillment and nourishment. So that's today's idea. So I'm going to show you how I've made a well. Okay, this is probably easy if you have all the right equipment, but I've sort of had a few goes and I'll show you what I've made. Right, I'll just put the Bible to one side and let me show you. Right, here is the well I've finished. It's got a bucket. Okay, that bucket is made from the top of nail varnish remover, and I've attached a handle using an elastic band, and I'll have to show you. The handle I've used here is wire, so that was my own version. They do say to use a little glass, but I couldn't see a way of attaching a handle to a little glass, so I've done it this way. And you can see it's got, it's a well, so it's got all the colours around it for the wood, the coloured wood, and it's got the rope at the top, and this time I've used wool, pink wool, because I ran out of string. So I'll show you what I've done as well. So I've had a few goes at this, and I've got very messy with the glue, but so I think I'll stick to sellotape now, it's easier. Right. So here's one I've almost finished, and this time I've used a yoghurt pot. So I've got these yoghurt pots, which are quite nice. The problem I found with the cup was the rim here, that the lollipop sticks, which you can get in lots of craft places, lollipop sticks weren't sticking very well because, oh dear, because of that lip there. So it wasn't, I couldn't get a good connection there. So if you can find some plastic cups without a rim, you might be able to manage that, just sticking them on there. Okay, that would work. But anyway, so I've had a go with some yogurt pots and that's worked out quite nicely. So here's one I've nearly finished, and instead of using glue, I've decided to use sellotape. So all I get is a whole pile of lollipop sticks. It's nice if you can get them in different colours, don't go on the floor. And I'm going to put sellotape along the side there, and then use that sellotape to stick them onto the yogurt pot. So I'll just do a little bit more now. It's a little bit fiddly because of holding everything in place at the same time. Right, here's my sellotape. So I've got the sellotape on the back of my lollipop sticks, and I'm just going to put them onto, there we are. So I've done a little bit, and I've got a little bit more to finish off here. So when you've put them on with sellotape, it's quite a good idea to put elastic band around it to hold everything in place, which is what I did here. Okay, right, the next thing to do after you've covered this container with lollipop sticks is to make the top of the well. So that's lollipop sticks again, and you may need to make a U shape, upside down, a U shape. So here's one I've just about finished. Can you see that? So it's got 3 lollipop sticks and they've just been attached to each other with sellotape. I couldn't see an easier way of doing it than sellotape. You could try some glue blobs, or you could try blue tack, that might work, but I think sellotape worked for me, so I'm using sellotape. And this time I've got the top from a mouthwash bottle. So you look around and you'll find some sort of containers that are the right sort of thing. With this one, I've done attached, can you see? There's the elastic band around the edge, and I have got a string handle. So I've attached the string to the elastic band, and that holds it in place. There we go. Right, so then I've got another piece of string which is going to go around my U shape. I'm just going to cut this edge off here. You can see, there we are. You can see I've got to just trim that bit. Okay, so now you can see it better. There's 2 bits of string, one attached to the elastic band and the other which is going to be for putting the bucket down the well. Okay. So that bit is what goes onto your U shape. So it just goes round and round and round. And then a bit more sellotape. To hold it in place. Oh dear, that's fallen off now. Right. So then, attach that back on. Just need quite a lot of sellotape to keep it in the right position. Now if you find a better way of doing this, if you find it works with blue tack, or if you've got some of those glue dots or those other stickers, you might find a better way of doing it. Right, so now I've got my top of my well with my bucket, so I can attach that inside my well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get another piece of sellotape. Oh dear. Right, so there's my sellotape and it's just going inside. Okay. It's very difficult to show you really. And my other stick's just fallen off again. And there's my well in the centre. Can you see it? When I say well, I mean bucket. There's my bucket going into my well. And I need to stick that back on again. It doesn't seem to want to stay on there. I don't think my sellotape is very sticky. And then just sellotape that lollipop stick inside so that you have got the well with the bucket on a string going inside the well. And that will remind you of the story of Jesus and the Samaritan lady and how he said, if you ask me, I can give you living water. And that's a promise for us for all time. And that's all I've got to say for today. So thanks for watching and see you next time.